So can we talk a little bit about, what the chances are that you're going to have to do this more than one time?
Great question, Lance. Sometimes I like to get a little animated, and this is going to be one of the questions that I'm going to get a little animated, is one of my patients at one time, I think he wanted to kill me because I told him that his procedure was not the hair he had before he spent all this money and had this hair transplant surgery, but it was an illusion. And he was like, "What do you mean an illusion? An illusion? What are you talking about?" Well, I guess it came out a little wrong, and let me explain that to the viewers out there, Lance. A hair transplant, even done by, let's just say that one of the top 10 surgeons in the world with a top tech team, and they're using microscopes and all these different ways to make the sites as close together, but you still want them all to grow, so you want to get the hairs as close to the density you had before you lost your hair. But that being impossible, we're not duplicating the exact head of hair you had before you lost it, but the impression of what it looks like from the best out there should look close to what it once looked like. What by that I'm saying is, look at all the photos online. Look at a lot of the videos online. Okay, every doctor wants to put out their best results. So if we could look at Lance's photos after his first surgery, to you, the viewer, with some nice lighting and with your hair combed a certain way, maybe a little hairspray, it's not going to look much different. When you go from a first procedure of an area, a surface area, void of no hair, there's zero hair there, then you put 6,000 hairs in that zone, you have a lot of hair in an area that didn't have any hair. So you immediately frame your face, you look years younger, and you have the impression of the hair you once had. But if you're a young guy, motivated by today's advertising and marketing online, you want to go back as far as you can because your friends don't have any hair loss. So when you jump in the pool, there goes the lighting, there goes the hairspray, there goes the way it's combed, and you can easily see that the hair is not as thick as you would want it to be. So there's got to be some sort of a benchmark or a gauge. And I use age, Lance, as an example. Now, when I lost my hair, I was 18 years old. Lance held on to his hair a little bit longer into his mid to later 20s. My theory is that, let's just call it age 35 as a benchmark. Anybody under age 35, especially in their 20s, is going to want to get as close to where they can with the minimal amount of procedures, obviously, to be like their friends who have not lost their hair. Do we agree on that? I think you will. So that's going to at least take 2 procedures. There's no question about it, even from the best of the best. Anybody over 40 years old, into their 50s, they're perfectly happy for the most part with that impression or that illusion that I got in trouble for saying. And now you've got literally 10 years off your appearance. At 50 years old, 50% of the male population has significant hair loss. You go back to your high school reunion and you're in the top 5% of guys with hair with one procedure. So we have to make sure that we're able to understand what we're getting into. As soon as you go into the water, or as soon as you start parting the hair and say, look, I can see space, you're a 2-procedure guy, maybe 3.
Yeah, and in my experience, that was one of those things where, I was so happy with how my first procedure turned out, but, I'd go to the beach or I'd go swimming and, there goes all the hair product that I put in, there goes the lighting. And, I could see a lot of space in there. And, what Steve was saying earlier, when you put a lot of hair in a place that had no hair at all, there's only so much you can safely remove in one procedure, so you may end up having to do it more than once. So if you're a younger guy, you may end up doing it more than once. However, if you're a bit older gentleman who is maybe in his late 50s or 60s, chances are you may not want to do it again. So it depends on your age, it depends on your hair type as well. So that's a lot about managing your expectations, and you have to think about, will I have to do this at least twice? And the answer is most of the time, yes, you will. So,
and keep in mind, Lance, let's go back to where we were with one of the other steps, is, always make sure we talk and differentiate between the two. It's what a doctor or clinic can do in one procedure. And we want to see examples and a series of examples of photos and videos of that. And then always plan on a second procedure, even if you're 50. So that way you're never disappointed. Those that say one and done, I'm happy, I'm perfectly happy, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I ever did. I hear all day long, this is the best investment I've ever made from everybody that I've ever reached out to or talked to. as long as it's handled the right way. That same person who was told you can have everything you want in one procedure, that's misleading. So we want to make sure we know the difference between what can be done in one procedure. However, that may not be enough for you.